Gross. Meghan Markle is torturing us with another podcast. And I can't listen to it. I can't sit and listen to it from beginning to end. I can't. Maybe I can find a transcript so that I can read it, and I will cover it on my channel episode by episode if I can do that. If I can read it. You guys leave in the comments. Maybe I'll find a way to see if I can hunt down transcripts, but I can't listen because one of my pet peeves is this sort of a sound.
With postpartum.
Yep.
And we both had preeclampsia.
Oh God, can you believe we both had that? It's so rare.
It's so rare.
And so scary.
This sort of breathy, inhaling laughter and inhaling, like, it's so rare.
It's so rare.
And
this sort of breathy, inhaling, vocal fry combination. I can't. I can't with like fake yelling, being like rah rah, like I can't. Those sorts of sounds just grate on me, and it's always been a pet peeve of mine. But let's take a look at this review from The Telegraph, which is relatively neutral and reliable. They're not always like negative about Meghan, and they're not always positive about Meghan. So let's see what they say. Confessions of a Female Founder, stolen name, stolen concept, review. Meghan's podcast is an inane stream of mindless aphorisms. Well, did you expect anything else? It's Meghan. The Duchess of Sussex, or we could just say Meghan's, latest effort has zero confessions, but much talk of journeys, self-love, and putting your essence out into the world. Gross. But that is not what we were promised. We were promised a business podcast, and I think maybe she thought if she categorized it as a business podcast, that it would stand out because it's less about business and would beat out other things in the genre, maybe? Maybe she thought there'd be less competition in the business genre and she'd be able to get up in the rankings for a few days or the first few episodes. I don't know. But it's apparently not very businessy, which is unfortunate because that's what she marketed it as. So, false advertising, anyone? I wanted it to be an environment of thanks and gratitude, compliments only. While that is not Meghan the Duchess of Sussex describing her new podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, it's a quote that certainly fits the bill, as the mother to the sixth in line to the British throne interviews female entrepreneurs to get the secrets of their success. However, there are no confessions or secrets. At one mystifying point, Meghan says to her guest, you don't have to reveal all the secrets, but there are plenty of self-care aphorisms, journeys of self-love and validation, and discussions of bottling your essence in great handfuls of mutual adoration. Oh dear. Well, it sounds just like everything else Meghan does. She brings people on just to basically pat herself on the head repeatedly, instead of getting down to anything that would reveal her as not having the knowledge the subject matter at hand. It's a diversion. The quote belongs to Meghan's first guest, the genuinely interesting Whitney Wolfe Herd, co-founder of the dating app Bumble, the first self-made female billionaire according to Forbes, but a lot of people say that she's basically a nepo baby. And most importantly, for the purposes of this podcast, Meghan's pal. Is she, though? Because, Meghan advertises when she has somebody in her sights as a new friend. And we haven't heard of this lady yet, I don't think. But that's okay. We'll see. We'll see what happens. The gushing begins almost instantly as Wolfe Herd describes Meghan and Harry as an elegant, iconic, and classy couple. I would disagree. And Meghan calling Wolfe Herd the kind of friend who always seems to know exactly what to say, which is presumably why she was invited on the podcast in the first place. The frustrating thing is that Wolfe Herd, who is just 35, presumably does have wisdom to impart, having been part of the team that created Tinder before she created Bumble. Imagine the drive, the talent, and the decisions and sheer bloody ruthlessness it must take to achieve what she has. We get none of it. Well, what a lost opportunity. Somebody who could have actually shared an interesting story and the ambition and drive that they pulled from to accomplish something great and successful is just ignored for boring stuff. Like, we all know, especially this day and age with social media, we all know that everybody, the most successful down to the most regular average person, does normal life stuff. They go through normal life things. That's not what people want to hear about, especially not on a business podcast. And remember, when we heard about this, I said, for a business spot podcast specifically, if you're not delivering value, teaching someone something new, or bringing a perspective that's helpful and beneficial to business within the first 5 minutes of the podcast, actual business people and entrepreneurs, people who are running businesses or trying to launch businesses or trying to get something done on top of what they're already doing, which is a lot of entrepreneurs and business people, they will not stick around for that shit because they need something that's going to signal to them that it's going to be worth their time immediately. Because of all the entrepreneurs, all the business owners I have ever known, anybody I've known who's actually achieved great success in that sort of a way, especially those who have built it for themselves or are entrepreneurial, they do not waste their time because they're trying to do so much already that anything that signals that it might be a waste of time gets cut out right away, immediately. Tolerance is not there for things that are going to waste time. And it sounds like this is one of those things that will waste time. In this perfumed echo chamber, gross, the best we get is a sense that Wolf Herd didn't love school and she wishes she hadn't worked so hard. The view isn't worth it, says the woman who married an oil heir and is worth an estimated $400 million. Oh. The pair speak a great amount of deliberately calculated nonsense. In a grim irony, Bumble was originally intended to be a female-only social media app to encourage kindness among girls, but it became a dating app. Oh, sellout? Anybody? Having recently returned as CEO, Wolf Herd is given space to plug the product, telling Meghan that she is going to re-architect the way people love. There is no way, says the dating app billionaire, to feel better about yourself by relying on the validation of others. True, fair, but I don't know how you would fix that with a dating app. We get some fleeting glimpses into Meghan's life, including a brief mention of the postpartum preeclampsia that both women suffered from, but other than that, there is little sense that Meghan lives in the real world. When she discusses the benefits of prioritizing her children over work, or how she never wants to miss drop-off or pickup, it's as if she believes the rest of us are making the wrong choices. Wolf Herd agrees. At my on-paper richest, I was my inward poorest. Now her buckets are better balanced, she says, but she's still worth $400 million. This is the thing. It's really high risk from a public image perspective to talk about these types of things from that place of extreme privilege, because so many people literally do not have the choice to be there to pick up their kids after school or be there for drop off in the morning. They don't have the choice. Regular jobs that the majority of people, if you look percentage-wise, the majority of people work for a boss who sets their hours, and it's rigid. It is a fantasy for so many people that they someday would be able to be a stay-at-home parent or something like that. And anybody else who has done it or who has found a way to be able to spend more time with their families or have a stay-at-home parent and juggle their finances or their work demands somehow knows how difficult that is. So for the majority of listeners, it's going to come across as entitled, as out of touch, as unaware of what it's actually like for people. When you have these rich ladies talking about being there for drop-off and pickup, well, you darn well better be. You don't have to show up anywhere. You're rich. It's not going to hurt your bottom line. You better be there for pickup and drop off. That's what the public feels. They feel like, so you're telling me that it's a struggle for you to show up for drop off and pickup when the majority of people who don't have a choice and have to go into work and can't be there wish that they could be there and they want nothing more than to be there every day, and you're acting like this is some big choice that you're making that's like hard on you? No. Apart from the surface level waffle, the thing that will strike you is Meghan's distractingly odd staccato delivery with a very unusual emphasis on various words. In that moment, she says, on fretting about packaging for her products, it feels monumental. For example, a month ago, I was absolutely consumed with packaging, boxes. It's all I could think about. In the actual conversation with Wolf Herd, she is more relaxed and natural, but never adds much more than fulsome agreement and gentle tap-ins for her guest. Imagine if they'd given us a bottle of rosé for this conversation, says Wolf Herd at the end, stumbling on a far better podcast premise than this superficial filler. It ends as it begins in a flurry of self-love, self-affirmation. Oh my gosh, you're the best. I'm proud of you. Thank you. Who wrote this? I like their writing style. Chris Bennion or Bennion? I appreciate his writing style. That was funny, the way he wrote out her speech pattern. And this is part of why I think Archetypes failed so hard. Part of what's making With Love Meghan so hard for me to get to episode 8. And part of what makes this podcast equally annoying is Meghan's speech is annoying. The way she talks. It either comes out as really, really patronizing, like she's lecturing you on something, or it can come out extremely contrived and sort of manipulative. Or third, her third gear is breathlessly obsessed with herself. Like just so everything she's saying and everything she's experienced is just the best and most captivating thing she's ever said and that anyone has ever heard. And she's far too enamored with herself and far too obsessed with herself. Well, it sounds like Confessions of a Female Founder is exactly what I thought it would be, which is absolutely nonsense, absolute waste of time, no substance, nothing useful, and it will flop. 100% it's going to flop if this is what it is. But we will have to keep an eye on it, and I will see if I can find those transcripts to break it down a little bit more carefully, because I do find it fun to analyze such things. But leave it in the comments what you think. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a happy day ahead, and I will see you next time. Bye. This review from The Telegraph, which